Hey everybody, this is dHunter bringing another action figure collection video. This is going to be episode 28 of dHunter's complete Batman-related unopened action figure collection. This is going to be part 6 of my DC Direct and DC Collectibles unopened figures. This episode is going to contain the DC Bombshells line, the DC Films line, a bunch of different Arrow figures, a bunch of designer series artist-specific lines, Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, some different various Harley Quinn figures, some unique one-off repaints, some black and white figures, and some multi-packs like the Rainbow Batman and the 75th Anniversary collections. If you want to see how extensive my unopened Batman action figure collection is, check out episode 1, the overview. There will be a link in the description below. In this video, we're going to take a look at each figure, line by line, wave by wave, and see what I have unopened, and we'll also see what I have open from these lines. Hope you guys enjoy this video, and let's see how we got to this point. Before we dig into this video, let's take a quick look at my overall action figure collection. Here's when I had everything laid out in the house. So I think I've finally done it. I've unpacked all of the figures. As you can see here, we have the Diamond Select Toys Gotham collection. Here's a bunch of my Mezco unopened figures. Some more Mattel stuff. Here's the Legends of the Dark Knight line. This is the Batman Power Attack line. Sort of Batman Unlimited. All my Justice League Unlimited stuff. This is the entire DC Direct and DC Collectibles Arkham collection. Mattel's 1966 line. DC Superhero Girls. All the different NECA Batman figures, some Target exclusive line, all the amazing Yamaguchi figures back there, some Spin Master stuff, the Mattel Batman Missions line. Of course, in the very back, it's my entire comic collection with all the recent McFarlane releases in front. And above that, got a bunch of DC Direct and Mattel figures in the last several years. Moving on, pretty much the entire Mattel's The Batman line. Back here in the back, got my SH Figure Arts Batman figures. This side, we've got all the different Mattel Dark Knight Rises, Batman Begins figures. Massive amount of piles. Back here we've got the DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series figures, and a lot of them are on top as well. Can't wait to get to that video. That one and the Arkham collection and DC Universe Classics. Some videos I'm really excited to do. Here are the Mattel figures. I can see the Batman Legacy, Batman Unlimited. It goes all the way from the original Batman line. Here's the Batmobile. And it's going to go all the way to DC Superheroes, DC Universe Classics, and Multiverse. A ton of figures. Great era with Mattel. Fun stuff. But I do like what McFarlane's doing. But I do miss these days, that's for sure. Going back to Kenner and Hasbro. Ton of Batman Beyond. Batman the Animated Series stuff. I mean, that just seemed endless to go through. My word. Look at these piles of unopened figures. Batman Animated Series continues all the way back here. Absolute ton of stuff just stacked up. On top of this table here, got all the Mafex figures and a bunch of one-offs. Some Hasbro, some McFarlane, or Mattel rather, anniversary figures. Amazing Yamaguchi, Kia Asima, all kind of different import type stuff. Then we've got JLA and Total Justice figures. And then on to all the rest of the DC Direct stuff. Bunch of DC Direct Batman related figures. Some more chill in the back here. And I filled up all these shelves temporarily, just storing all these DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And it's almost done. Here's the Mattel Batman Brave and the Bold line. I did not realize how extensive that got. And a ton more Brave and the Bold down here. Moving on again, some old Toy Biz, Super Friends, and DC superhero figures, leading into the Dark Knight collection. Then we'll go to the Batman Returns figures, and then of course Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, a bunch of different Bat Caves, and some more animated stuff in the back there. So we'll start off by looking at the DC Bombshells line. DC Bombshells, I believe, started off as a line of statues, ended up into a comic series. It's essentially a bunch of sort of sexy versions of female characters, and they're done in old school styles from the 40s or 50s. I have Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, Batwoman, Batgirl, and Katana unopened. I do believe I have all the figures open from this line. So let's take a look at the packaging. DC Designer Series, Aunt Lucia, I believe that was the artist. This is the second figure in the line. DC Bombshells, Harley Quinn. Old school outfit. Kind of looks to be sort of a flight outfit. Bomber jacket, got some goggles on her head, large mallet, cap gun, bunch of different hands, a lot of flesh. They try to sexy them up for this. DC Designer Series, Harley Quinn. In the back, you can see 4 figures from the initial assortment: Wonder Woman, Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, and Batwoman. Poison Ivy, in my opinion, being the star of the show. That figure is great. And now we've got Poison Ivy. This is the third figure in the line. DC Bombshells, Poison Ivy. Designer Series, Poison Ivy in the package. She's got a large plant monster vine, a bunch of different hands, a rose, and here she is, wearing lingerie. Very well done, very well articulated, very well sculpted, an overall beautiful figure. Poison Ivy, the other 4 figures from the first assortment. Now we have the 4th figure in line. This is Batwoman, DC Bombshells, Batwoman. She has kind of a baseball look to her. Got a ball cap, skirt, baseball glove, baseball bat, an actual baseball, bunch of different hands. Batwoman, other 4 figures for the first assortment. Here's the DC Bombshells Batgirl. Batgirl in the package, once again, a lot of flesh exposed, removable cape, backpack, looks like some goggles. The 5th figure in the line, Batgirl. Now here's her assortment of figures: Batgirl, Hot Girl, Mara, and Katana. DC Bombshells Katana, the 8th figure in the line. Katana, she comes with a sword, her katana. Same 4 figures from the second assortment. Now they did show some further assortments, but of course, everything got canceled. This was a pretty rough time for collecting DC collectibles. They would show us stuff, and you never really know if it was going to get released or not. Here's Harley Quinn out of the box. I did enjoy the Bombshells figures. They were sculpted nice, their articulation was good. Not really your standard everyday versions of these characters, but a very niche specific look. Here's Poison Ivy, arguably the best of the Bombshells figures. She looks very good. Old school curls on the hair, looks like a 50s housewife. Got the rose up there, the skin is green. I mean, it looks like she's in a bra and some sort of lingerie. Got the thigh-high stockings with a strap there. Very sexy. Very well done. And here's Batwoman. Another well-sculpted and articulated figure. And I appreciate these Bombshells for what they are, but I remember when they were coming out, I was thinking to myself, you can give us a well-sculpted, well-articulated Bombshell Batwoman, but you can't give us a regular Batwoman in her costume like this. And here's a look at Batgirl. All these figures have similar proportions. Thin waist, large hips, very curvy, and that's part of what makes them Bombshells. And here's Katana. Now once again, you don't get a lot of Katana figures. I do like the Bombshells line quite a bit. But come on, can't we get some regular versions of these characters with modern articulation? Here's the entire line of Bombshell figures out of the package. Now I only got what I consider to be the Batman and related characters to keep unopened, being Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, Batwoman, Batgirl, and Katana. But I really wanted to have Wonder Woman, Mara, and Hawkgirl out of the package as well. The Bombshell figures were just some really nice figures, but like I said, I don't get to use them very often as they're very specific, unique looks. I have seen some absolutely wonderful custom versions out there of some other characters. Here's a DC Comics Essentials Batman. This is a re-release of the New 52 Justice League Batman figure. This figure has been released a total of 7 times that I can think of. Now this is not to be confused with the DC Essentials line. This is a DC Comics Essentials. Yes, that's a thing, as confusing as that is. It's Batman for the New 52, Batman, DC Comics Essentials, Batman on one side, the back. You can see a bunch of other releases. A lot of these were re-releases from their original re-release under the DC Comics Essentials line. Here's this DC Comics Essentials New 52 Batman next to the original packaging release. And then here are all 7 different variations of this Batman release. There are a total of 4 different paint jobs, but the standard version was released a good 4 times. Here's this figure out of the box. Not a bad looking figure, but his articulation is pretty rough, especially from the waist down. Now let's look at the sketch version of that same New 52 Batman. This is going to be a black and white release. It was a 2015 convention exclusive. You can see on the front, we've got a sketched version of that Batman. Packaging very unique. It's done in kind of a half circle shape. 2015 convention exclusive. DC Comics. Backside. See the sketch of the figure by Jim Lee. And now I did keep the packaging that I opened because it was so unique and pretty cool. Packaging here, once you have it out of the plastic, you can open this thing up and you have a little sketch of Batman inside of there. Here's where the figure would be. Sort of reprint of Jim Lee's autograph at the bottom. Very nice collector packaging. Here's a sketch Batman out of the package. Now it's a pretty cool display piece, but not something you'd ever really use in your action figure scenarios. And here is yet another repaint of this same mold. This is a GameStop exclusive DC collection by Jim Lee. As you can see, DC collection, Jim Lee, DC, only at GameStop, Batman. The back, just a sort of Jim Lee inspired, sort of cel-shaded Batman figure. Here's this Jim Lee Batman out of the package. It's a cool looking figure, nice detailing, just not very practical, much more of a display piece than for an everyday action figure. And here would be all 4 different paint variations of this Batman out of the package. Now let's look at the DC Collectibles DC Films Designer Series action figures. This was supposed to be a brand new line that would take place in the DC Cinematic Universe. They showed an absolute ton of figures from this, and I was really excited to enter the collection. Now these figures were considerably more expensive than DC Direct's traditional releases, and they were already really expensive as it is. I believe the suggested retail price for a DC Collectibles figure was about $28 at this point. I always got mine for pretty cheap. I ordered them from DCBService.com. They would give you a 33% off discount, so I was paying about $19 each, which was very fair. I don't exactly remember how much these figures were, probably $35 or $40. I believe they had to make them more expensive in order to be able to make them, because other companies were making them for cheaper. I don't really know all the details behind the scenes, but I think fan reception was not good because of the price. The figures are fantastic, but the price point is way too much. They released Armored Batman and Superman from Batman vs. Superman in Series 1, and they showed at least 10 other figures, and I would have welcomed each and every one of them, particularly a regular suited Ben Affleck Batman. We still don't have one of those in the 7-inch action figure form. So let's take a look. DC Films, DC Collectibles, first figure in line, Armored Batman. He's in the package, it looks fantastic. Bunch of accessories, the figure feels heavy. Here he is. Backside you can see the two figures. I would have much preferred them to lead with a regular Batman and a regular Superman, but this is what we got. Superman, pretty similar. He looks good. 7-inch scale. See some heat vision for his eyes. 2 heads, a bunch of hands. Second figure, Superman. Unfortunately, that is as far as the line went. Here's this Armored Batman out of the package. Good sculpted figure. Good articulation. And he is huge. He is massive. He would fit in great with McFarlane DC Multiverse stuff. Now I got both Batman and Superman to keep unopened, because they're both from the film, Batman vs. Superman. I do wish that I'd gotten Superman loose as well at this point, but at the time, I thought to myself, well, I just need them both unopened because they're from Batman vs. Superman, hence both being Batman related, but I really don't need them both open. I definitely want this Batman, because it's another variation of Batman, but Superman, just don't really need him. But I wish I got him nowadays. He's quite expensive to go back and track down. This is a great looking figure, but the line was so short-lived. It was a really bad time to be a DC Collectibles figure. You never could really depend on the line or figures actually coming out they'd show you. Made people very hesitant to jump in. Now let's look at the DC Collectibles Arrow line. DC Collectibles made several figures from both the Flash and Arrow CW TV shows. I got the ones that I consider Batman related to keep unopened. That's Deadshot, Deathstroke and Arrow 2-pack, and then the Deathstroke single figure. Here's the packaging. Arrow by DC Collectibles. This is the 6th figure in line. Deadshot. Very unique look to Deadshot. Not from the comics or the video games, but still pretty cool. Deadshot. Bunch of other figures from the line. I do think I probably should have got the Dark Archer to keep unopened, as he's a member of the League of Shadows in the TV show, but I honestly didn't even know that at the time. Then we have this 2-pack here. This has Billy Wintergreen as Deathstroke. He was Deathstroke before Slade Wilson in the TV show. Comes with a bunch of guns. Very nice Deathstroke figure. And then we have an Arrow figure here. Oliver Queen and Deathstroke. In my headcanon, I'm able to use this Deathstroke as Billy Wintergreen, and the other one is Slade Wilson, and they can work together sometimes. Arrow, the back, you can see the 2 figures in this pack. And then here's Deathstroke. This is the 3rd figure in the line. Deathstroke in his traditional coloring. Articulation's good. Sculpt is fantastic. He looks like a comic Deathstroke with a little bit of an Arrow twist to him. One of my favorite Deathstroke figures that I have. You can see several figures from the Arrow TV show. Here's the Deadshot figure. Unique look of Deadshot. Had to put him in my Batman-related Deadshot collection. Here's this Deathstroke out of the box. It might be my favorite Deathstroke figure that I have. If not, he's without a doubt in the top 3. Here's this version of Deathstroke and Arrow from the 2-pack. The Deathstroke is also an absolutely fantastic version of him, and I love that it's supposed to be a different person under the mask. Like I said before, in my headcanon, these are 2 different Deathstrokes, 2 different people under the mask, and they could potentially work together. And although I just got the Batman-related characters to keep unopened, I did get these 3 versions of Arrow from the TV show. I don't know why I felt compelled to keep getting the different versions. They were very similar. I also got the shirtless Oliver Queen from this line. I ended up taking his head off and putting it onto a Diamond Select, Gotham, Jim Gordon body. I really wanted to have Oliver Queen in civilian attire. They made figures of both Felicity and Diggle. Those were supporting allies of Arrow in the show. I was very pleased to have the 3 of them put together. I ended up buying 2 Felicity figures. You don't get female civilian figures too often. The extra one, I threw another head on and made it a secretary for Bruce Wayne at Wayne Enterprises. I also got 2 Diggle figures. I recently put the unmasked Bloodsport head on him, and now I have Robert DeVoe in civilian attire. I also got Roy Harper, or Red Arrow from this line. He was helping Green Arrow for quite a while in the show, and I thought it was pretty cool to have another hero for the mix. I also got both different versions of Black Canary and the White Canary. Thought they could fit into my action figure world pretty nicely. I do remember the show when the 3 of these guys were working together. One of the better times in this show, if you ask me. And I also got both the Dark Archer and Merlin unmasked. These are both the same character, just one has the mask on, one has the mask off. Now at the time, I bought the Dark Archer because I thought he would work good for a League of Shadows assassin. And then later I ended up watching the show and found out that's exactly what he was. What are the odds? So when they released the Dark Archer figure, I got a total of 5 of them. I thought they would work great for League of Shadow members. And I really had no idea what they were at the time. As I later watched the show, I was just sort of blown away that that's what I was thinking of when I saw the figure, and that's what he turned out to actually be. A while later, they released a Merlin Dark Archer figure unmasked, and I thought to myself, well, here's another opportunity army building. So I ended up getting 5 or 6 of this guys with the intention to do some head swaps. So when I was toying with the idea of getting a bunch of different unmasked Merlin Dark Archer figures, I wasn't sure if a simple head swap was going to be good enough for me. So I took this older Dark Archer figure and I was curious what's going on under the hood. You can actually pull that thing back and you can see it looks like a regular ninja mask under there. So I took it one step further. I bought an additional 5 of the original Dark Archers. I took their heads out, so we have the ninja mask, and I put them on some of the newer unmasked Merlin figures. And that left me with 5 of these guys with no head. I put some regular unmasked heads in there, so they're better sort of hidden. And then I had 5 of these unmasked guys with the ninja masks, and 5 of this guy as is, and then one of which to be the leader of the group, and that's actually Merlin. At this point, I have a total of 16 of these Dark Archer figures. It's a pretty impressive League of Shadows or League of Assassins from a Ra's al Ghul army. Here's a closer look at them all. Now I wanted to hide some of these heads, as I took some random heads from my fodder pile, some of which are not very good looking. Very obvious who they are if you're familiar with the character. So I've got 5 of them with no mask but a hood on. Then I've got a total of 5 of them as is with both the hood and the mask. Got 1 Merlin to lead the entire group, and then I've got 5 more with the ninja masks on. Now let's look at some more DC Designer Series artist-specific figures, starting off with these Amanda Conner Harley Quinn figures. There are 4 different Harley Quinn figures, each in completely different outfits. So let's check out the packaging. DC Designer Series, Amanda Conner, first figure in this line. Traditional Harley Quinn. DC Designer Series, Amanda Conner, Harley Quinn. Here are all 4 of the Harley Quinn figures. Then we have the second figure. This is Spacesuit Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is semi-traditional outfit, but it's a spacesuit. It's got her helmet here. Then she's got a sort of pizza monster here. He was in the Harley Quinn comic series. She's upside down on the side. Other 4 figures. Figure 3. Superhero Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn, she's got a little cape on. A giant alternate head. Superhero Harley. And here's the 4th figure. Holiday Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn, kind of a sexy sort of Christmas Santa outfit. Here's the more traditional Harley Quinn from Amanda Connor out of the package. Then the spacesuit Harley out of the package. And here's the superhero Harley Quinn. She's got her hair up in a couple buns and a superhero cape. And here's the holiday Harley Quinn. Definitely a Christmas themed action figure. And now for the Lee Bermejo designer series. Batman is the only figure I have from this artist. DC Comics designer series. Lee Bermejo. Batman. He's in what appears to be sort of an older school Batman outfit. Makes me think of maybe a year one Batman. Here's Batman. On the back, you can see some concept art and the figure. And here's this Batman out of the package. Like I said, reminds me of an older school Batman. I bet it looks a little more homemade, a little more primitive. Now we have the Darwin Cook designer series. There's Batman, Harley Quinn, and Catwoman. DC Comics designer series Darwin Cook, the first figure in the line. This is Batman, Darwin Cook, Batman, older school type of artist. Here are a few different figures from Darwin Cook's first assortment. Now I only got the Batman related characters. Then we have Harley Quinn, DC Comics designer series, third figure in line. Harley Quinn, Harley, the first assortment of Darwin Cook. And here's Catwoman, DC Comics designer series, the seventh figure in line. Catwoman. And here's some figures from her assortment. Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, and Catwoman. I only got Catwoman for that assortment. Here's this Batman out of the box. Makes you think of an older school Batman design. Kind of reminds me of New Frontier. Here's this Harley Quinn. In kind of a modern outfit, but drawn in an old school style. And here's this Darwin Cook Catwoman out of the box. Decent looking Catwoman. Face a little bit too stylized for my tastes. Now we have the Jay Lee designer series. I've got Batman and Catwoman from this artist. DC Comics designer series Jay Lee, first figure in the line. This is Batman from Batman Superman. Batman, the back, you can see four figures from Jay Lee. Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, and Catwoman. I only got Batman and Catwoman. And then here's Catwoman, a couple heads and a whip. The fourth figure in the line. Catwoman, Batman, Superman. Here's this Batman out of the box. Modern, not bad, but not really necessary. And here's Catwoman out of the box. I'd say the same thing. A nice, modern, standard Catwoman, but not necessary with how many choices there are out there. DC Collectibles launched a line of Batman Black and White figures. I believe this was to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Batman Black and White. We've got a Bob Kane first appearance Batman, a Jim Lee Batman, and a Greg Capullo Batman. Batman Black and White, Bob Kane, 20 years. DC Collectibles, direct from the source. First figure in this line. Batman Black and White. There's Batman on the side. Sort of a first appearance look. Here are the three black and white figures out there. Batman Black and White, Jim Lee. Second figure. Looks like a Hush Batman, Jim Lee style. Then we have Batman Black and White, Greg Capullo. This is a Greg Capullo style Batman. Third figure. Here's a black and white Bob Kane Batman out of the package. Has a nice old school noir feel to it. Here's the Jim Lee black and white Hush Batman. They have made several different paint variations of this sculpt. And the Greg Capullo black and white Batman. They did a really nice job of capturing some different iconic Batman looks and putting them in black and white style. Then we have this GameStop exclusive Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated film line. We have Mikey as Batman, Batman and Leonardo, Batgirl and Donatello, Robin and Raphael, and then Alfred and Michelangelo. Here's Mikey as Batman. This is Michelangelo as he was dressed up as Batman briefly in the film. This is a 2019 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 7 pieces, DC Collectibles, Mikey as Batman. It's a PX previous exclusive, San Diego Comic-Con 2019, limited to 10,000 pieces. Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, turtle shell. Back you can see Mikey as Batman, and here is the rest of the line. And here's Mikey dressed up as Batman when they're in the Batcave. Here's Batman and Leonardo. This is a 2-pack. Only available at GameStop. Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Batman and Leonardo action figure 2-pack. The 2 figures in the package, a ton of accessories. Turtle shell on one side, the back, you can see the rest of the line. Here's Batman and Leonardo out of the box. One thing I really liked about these turtles, each one had a different color, shape, and size. This Batman here is in a traditional blue and gray outfit. These figures were scaled up a tiny bit smaller than your average DC Collectibles figures. Here's Batgirl and Donatello. Makes sense to put them together. They're both sort of the tech member of the group. Only at GameStop. Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Batgirl and Donatello 2-pack. They come with a ton of accessories. Turtle shell on the side, rest of the line on the back. And here's Batgirl and Donatello out of the pack. And here's Robin and Raphael 2-pack. Damian Wayne is Robin. GameStop, Batman vs. Turtles, Robin and Raphael 2-pack. Got 2 different head options for Robin, one with the hood, one without. Bunch of different weapons here. Turtle shell, the rest of the line. Here's Damian and Raphael. Makes sense to put them together. They're both probably the ones with the worst attitude on the teams. I thought Damian was way too small and fragile. And then Raphael, probably the most interesting of the turtles. He's a lighter shade and a lot thicker. Then there's the Alfred and Michelangelo 2-pack. I was really happy they made Alfred from this line. GameStop, Batman vs. Turtles, Alfred and Michelangelo. They come with a ton of accessories. Turtle shell, rest of the line. And here's both Alfred and Michelangelo out of the pack. And finally, we have this villain 2-pack, Ra's al Ghul and Shredder. I think it would have been really nice if they gave us a Foot Soldier and League of Shadow 2-pack as well. GameStop, Batman vs. Turtles, Ra's al Ghul and Shredder. Some great martial art ninja leaders. Ton of accessories. Turtle shell, the rest of the line. And here's both Ra's al Ghul and Shredder. It's a fantastic 2-pack. Those guys make a great lethal combination. Now we have this Rainbow Batman 6-pack. This will be based off an old school detective comics where Batman had to wear a different color costume every night. Kind of think of a gay pride Batman. Rainbow colors. Rainbow Batman. 6 different Batman figures, all the same mold. Very gimmicky. I remember this thing was first teased at a Comic-Con, and it was a joke. Then they actually ended up releasing this thing. One side, here's an image from the source material. Other side, all 6 of the figures. On the back, 6 different colors of Batman. And here are all 6 of these Rainbow Batman figures out of the box. I've also got a black and gray Batman figure sharing the same mold, and I know there's another blue and gray one that I don't have. It came in a Super Friends Batman vs. Scarecrow 2-pack, painted a little bit differently. And Mattel made a Rainbow Batman in his actual rainbow suit from the end of this comic. works great with this set. Then we have these two large 75th anniversary Batman action figure collector set. These are a couple of 4-packs, one with a gold label, one with a silver label. Here's a look at the box. 75 years of Batman. DC Collectibles at the top. 75 years of Batman. At the back, it'll tell you all 4 of the different figures that are in here. Silver one, exact same package, but it's going to have different 4 figures inside the box. This first gold set is going to contain a first appearance Batman, a New Frontier Batman, a Hush Batman, and an Arkham Origins Batman. Here are all 4 of these figures out of the package. Now, one thing I appreciate about this set, each of these 4 figures are at least a little bit different from their original releases. The first appearance Batman doesn't have the purple gloves. New Frontier Batman is black and gray instead of blue and gray. The Hush Batman is black and gray instead of blue and gray. And the Arkham Origins Batman has a much different yellow belt. And the silver anniversary set, it's going to contain Batman based off his appearance in Super Friends, Batman from The Dark Knight Returns, Batman from Justice by Alex Ross, and Batman by Greg Capullo for the New 52. And here are all 4 of these figures out of the box. Now, each one of these are at least slightly different from the original releases, except for the Greg Capullo Batman. That one is identical. I don't see why they couldn't have done something at least slightly different. So that will conclude episode 28 of my unopened DC Collectibles Batman-related action figures. The next episode, that's going to contain all of my DC Collectibles, DC Essentials Batman-related figures. Then after that, we'll get to the Arkham series of figures, and then the DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're getting close to the end of my DC Collectibles collection. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure collection videos and action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is dHunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.